Thank you. On behalf of Cocoon and Xccelerate, welcome to the community event, part of Hong Kong Start Me Up Festival, and sponsored, one of our amazing sponsors is InvestHK. So thank you, InvestHK team. So today, what is this? What is this community event and what's the intention? So obviously as students, you've got Talent Night coming up, but as part of this whole Start Me Up week, these kinds of events, we call them an unconference. So ironically, this is very conference-like, but we spoke to the Xccelerate team and we want to make this a very casual, non-conference-like situation. So ask questions, talk, come in, have drinks. We want to make this a discussion. And what's today's discussion? Well, as students of Xccelerate, you would know that a lot of it is about the future of work. It's about the skills you need, the talent you need, and the industries that need you in the new future. So who am I? My name is Roland. I'm the managing partner of Cocoon Ignite Ventures. We are a venture capital fund that invests all around the world, but in particular in Southeast Asia and the US. We have experience investing in a lot of SaaS products a long time ago, and recently we've been quite focused in AI. So today, together with Xccelerate, we have a short but high quality set of content. I will first bring up Mr. Herman Zhe from InvestHK to have a very quick opening and introductory speech, if I can call it that, to welcome all of us, followed by a keynote from Calvin, who is the founder of Whispresso, one of Hong Kong's leading AI company. And thirdly, it will be a very quick and casual panel discussion, or more to discussion, between myself, Levine, who you may already know, and Denise Wong, who's a head of product at Buildly.ai. So remember, this is an unconference. I hope you guys have a bit more beer to loosen it up. But without further ado, if I can invite Herman here onto the platform to welcome us. And you are live on YouTube and on Zoom. So there are people there watching. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the unconference. Herman, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Herman. I'm from the Miss Hong Kong, and we are a government department responsible for promoting Hong Kong to overseas investors and also mainland investors as well, and hope that they will come to Hong Kong to set up their business. Now, I don't want to go into too formal conversations. We helping startup companies to set up in Hong Kong is also a very big effort by the Hong Kong government as well. So that's why I'm here, and we also have colleagues from the startup team sponsoring this event as well. So to cut it short, I just want to tell you probably two stories. One is I have an intern from one of the universities in Hong Kong working for me at the moment. And when I asked her, a very shy, very humble, polite girl, but when I asked her, what do you want to do in the future? And then the first thing she said is, okay, I don't want to have a normal job. I want to have my own business. And it will be this. It's actually the same for a lot of her colleagues in the university as well. So we do realize that, and we embrace that. And that's why we have the startup team. That's why Hong Kong government has a lot of support to startup companies. We do need young people to think out of their box, to have their own future, okay? The second story is about my own daughter. So my daughters always say that, Daddy, you are so boring. You are a banker. You were a banker. You are from the financial industry, but you are so boring. So what I want to say is, in my generation, so my parents would probably want every one of us to be a professional, lawyers, accountants, banking, whatever. Today, my daughter would probably go into something else. I don't know what she's going to do, but we are also very open because we need our new generation, next generation to think out of the box as well. So it can be anything, okay? As long as they do something to contribute to our economy, to our society, we embrace that as well. So Hong Kong government has a lot of support to the next generation. So that's why I'm here. And that's probably read up my speech. And if you have any questions after the sharing session, please do not hesitate to come to me or my colleague here. Thank you.
Thank you. And just before we transition on to Calvin, ourselves at Cocoon cannot overemphasize the importance of working with bodies like InvestHK There's lots of tremendous resources. I'm going to have to single you out, but Mansi, she used to work with me and now over at InvestHK. So any question you have, the one person you need to meet of all the many, Mansi, you'll have to. I'm sorry, Mansi. There it is. But without further ado, now on to our keynote, Calvin, who, as you're thinking and preparing your slides, really a company that I'll share my story while you warm up. Met Calvin in 2018 in Cyberport. At that time, really one of the early movers in my view in AI. We subsequently made some investments in this company, and I really wanted him to come up here today. And I told him there's no particular subject. If you guys have questions in mind, he's only talking for 10 minutes, ask him. But really when it comes to data, Hong Kong, tech, AI, all that, this is the guy. So Calvin, hope that didn't give you too much pressure, but on to you.
Thank you, Roland. I actually worked with Herman before. I just ran back, reconnected with him. So a bit of my introduction. Apart from being the founder and CEO of Wespresso, before founding this company about 6 years ago, I used to work at HSBC in the global banking side. And I'm on the part-time, I'm also a fintech lecturer at Hong Kong U and Hong Kong U Space. So if you are interested in learning more about fintech, do look it up. They have an advanced diploma in that, and it's a full coverage from AI to what fintech is. So I think Wespresso, just to clarify, we don't sell coffee. It represents wisdom as condensed as an espresso. So basically, we started in equity research. I think today, really, there wasn't much of an agenda. I'm going to introduce what my company does, but I think out of it, most importantly, is about the story, the why. I think hopefully many of you will have the opportunity to start your own business. And it's about, what type of problems are we actually solving? So Wespresso, why are we doing this? So back in my banking days, I found that a lot of the financial institutions utilize structured data, financial data for analysis. So be it from financial to credit modeling to everything you can think of is structured. But in fact, most of the information that we deal with are text, tables, images that are unstructured data. And there's a huge pain point around how enterprise can better utilize these information, both online and offline. So we essentially build neural networks that help companies comprehend and maximize the value of these data. And we more specifically apply this. Let's zoom out. It's fine. We apply this technology in 3 areas, in market intelligence, in regulatory reporting, and knowledge management. So our upcoming actually started in market intelligence. Our first client was Credit Suisse. And essentially, we help them on a wide range of alternative data. So gathering data from the web, these are non-traditional data, for example, like e-commerce data, tender documents, right? These things that you never think of to make investment decisions. But today we operate more than 5 different platforms. Today, I won't go through all of them, but we have tools that focus on helping asset managers, on helping lawyers and professionals, and also from buy side to sell side. What that means is we help people make investment decisions. We also help professional service to perform due diligence on IPOs, on different capital markets transactions. We also perform knowledge management for enterprises who want to also utilize some of our technology and apply that to in some of the internal workflows. Do you have a clicker that I could use?
I'll do it for you.
It's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. So today we have a lot of good different use cases. For example, we help more than half of the global law firms here in Hong Kong on performing IPO verification. What that means, I'll talk about it in a moment, but we also do help a wide range of financial institutions and listed companies on improving both the disclosure and how investors can better digest company disclosures and utilize them for decision making. So why are we doing this? Now, Hong Kong is a global financial center. We combined with Shenzhen, Shanghai, raise some of the most high-profile funds for listed companies coming from mainland, from Southeast Asia. However, the process on fundraising as well as post IPO is also quite manual. For example, in Hong Kong, 5 to 7% of an IPO goes to fees. We also take quite a bit of time to fundraise. For example, on average 4 to 12 months to launch an IPO, and it often involves more than 15 different stakeholders. More recently, ESG has also become one of the more complex topics within the capital market space. So all the listed companies, 2,000 of them in Hong Kong, have to comply with these mandatory requirements starting from next year as well. So recognizing these inefficiencies, we also recognize there's a lot of players within capital markets, from the banks to lawyers to auditors and regulators, and they all have their thing to do throughout the capital transactions process. And essentially our goal is to provide a platform that allows them to better communicate, better work together, enabled by AI technology. So our pain point is not restricted to the transaction, the IPO pain point, but also post-IPO, where we see a lot of the companies, especially the medium-sized, smaller-sized listed company, may not have a huge legal or investor relations team. And that is where it hits the hardest when you have more and more regulation. How can we utilize technology to help them solve some of the issues? So that's what we call regulatory technology, right? So essentially, I'm going to go through two main areas where we help companies in Hong Kong. So Factify is our verification software. As you can tell from the name, it's about fact checking, right? So what is verification? In fact, verification is a process where you have to ensure the disclosures are accurate and not misleading. So I don't know if there are any bankers here or intern at the bank. If you've done an IPO, you probably have seen a company prospectus, which is about 500-600 pages. Do you know that lawyers actually spend weeks circling up each statement within this book and have to fact check everything? So essentially, to do that, the lawyers literally print out the whole book. They would circle up, add a reference ID, and they'll distinguish what are facts and what are opinions. Now, if there are opinions, somebody from the company, for example, a director, has to sign off on it. And if it's a fact, then a lawyer has to do citation, very similar to what you do in university, but they have to find a source of truth and link it back to the prospectus. So all these takes a lot of time, but they also have to repeatedly do it when there are new versions that appear throughout the IPO process. So what we've done is we've developed Factify, which is an AI tool that is web-based. And instead of printing it out, you can upload it into our platform. And within 10 minutes, we would do most of the things that I've mentioned. So for example, it can automatically box up everything. Okay, so every statement would have an ID right away. At the same time, the AI, using some deep learning model, we can also distinguish what are material statements. So whether there are any major statements that you must verify, all right? And we would also classify what are facts versus opinions. And if you have also gathered some of these documents from your clients, you can upload them onto our platform and it will automatically verify it for you. So we believe, this is adding a lot of value, and essentially we're not replacing the lawyer, because if during these type of transactions, the fees are actually capped. And we are also not a law firm, so the lawyer actually has to take the responsibility as well as the liability, right, to sign off on it. But these are a prime example of how AI can work together and coexist with human, because there are a lot of work that it's repetitive, it's also quite time consuming, and we're there to help. The other use case, and I want to leave more time for Q&A, is more on the buy side, on ESG. So Valueletics is actually one of our latest solutions that focus on ESG. And essentially, this is now shifting the focus to listed companies. So if you work within a listed company as a CFO or head of ESG or head of investor relations, one of your top responsibility is to ensure information is being properly disclosed to all investors, and your disclosure have to meet all the requirements stated by the regulator. So in Hong Kong, that would be the Stock Exchange Appendix 16 and 27. And these are requirements that take a lot of time, for the listed company to comply. And especially within the ESG space, we see, this cycle where the team throughout the year has to work with different teams, different departments to collect data. So now putting on the ESG hat, what type of data are we talking about? They can be, if you're in the real estate space, how much energy you consume within the building, how much waste you produce, or, how many vehicles are you operating and how much emission are they giving? Now it's going beyond that. There's what we call scope 2 and scope 3 emissions. Scope 3 means indirect exposure. So that includes your suppliers and your clients. So there's a data gathering component, and then there's also a drafting component. So what are the initiatives that we've done that we could summarize in our disclosure and tell our investors? And then you have to then compare the quality of drafting with your competitors or peers to see how you're doing. And then also report, not only to regulators, but also to rating agencies. Because there are a lot of rating agencies like MSCI, S&P, even in Hong Kong, there's the Hong Kong QAA that will rank your company, how well you do it. And that can impact, how easy or hard you can get a loan or other external capital. Right. So revolving that, we see a lot of companies probably don't have the resource to gather information. So what we've built is a tool that automatically uses AI to read ESG reports. And one of the first adopters, in fact, is the Hang Seng Index itself before all the listed companies. So the Hang Seng Index, in fact, utilize our technology to create thematic index. So most recently, they've created a hydrogen index that looks at all the different companies that are working in the hydrogen space, from production to refining to storage. Right? But beyond that, it's about how we can benchmark companies easily from 270 indicators that we've built. So we have these indicators aligned with SASB, GRI, all these global standards. And using generative AI, we automatically compare all these standards against their peers in an instance, as opposed to doing this manually, which may take weeks, if not months. Right? So that is the 2 use cases I want to share. Maybe I'll leave more room for questions. Thank you very much. Do you think everyone would be interested in seeing some sort of demo?
Do you guys want to see a demo or ask questions? While you said I have a question, Calvin.
Sure.
I'm in corporate finance, or I was. I'm in VC now. And I worry that I won't have a job because I don't know anything about AI. So should I join Xccelerate and learn something? Like what will your tips be for the non-AI people to get into AI?
So can someone help me connect to the Wi-Fi while I answer? Thank you. So basically, there are things that you cannot prevent, right? There are mega trends. AI will come anyway. And the question for you is, would you want to be the person who knows AI or who doesn't know AI? So I think people who knows AI will replace those that do not know AI. Okay, it's similar to 20 years ago when the laptop become more popular. Can you afford not learning how to use a personal computer? So this would become a core tool that will stick for you with for the rest of your life if there's not a better version. But I don't know if you've seen the latest conference from OpenAI just last week. It's becoming more of an AGI, so it's called Artificial General Intelligence. So what that means is there are probably less and less things that AI cannot do. Most of the things AI can potentially do. but there's still a cost benefit issue, right? You can ask AI to pour you a cup of water. I've seen that. You can put GPT onto a robotic arm and they can, do that. But that's a $10 million solution. Why don't I help you pour the water? So I think similar to the computer, the invention of the computer, this thing we need to think about, how it works at a minimum. You don't need to code it. I don't think everyone has to be a software engineer, but at least how can I utilize it for my day-to-day work? And it's not limited to AI. I mean, it's also about basics of machine learning, of deep learning. When is the right time to utilize this? Because sometimes the technology may be too complicated for a simple problem. Okay, so you need to know when to use what. Okay, let me see if I can do it from here. All right, I do this all the time because clients usually ask, and we have to be ready.
Any questions? Anyone in the meantime want to ask Calvin?
Yeah, I just add one thing.
Please, Howard. Yeah,
Sure.
Of course.
I'll be honest that a lot of the work, mundane analytical work, will be done by AI now and future. That's true. But decision making will always be made by human. It's something that AI cannot replace. For example, if I put two proposals, especially if you are a startup, you are the business owner, what would be your contribution? Okay, how do you make business? I have two proposals which are exactly the same, done with the help of AI. Okay, and when you present it to a client, human client, okay, so how does he or she make a decision with two exactly the same proposal? It will come down to the human touch. It will come down to your relationship with that client. It doesn't really matter what kind of relationship. Wine and dine, okay, or friends, playing sports together. It always comes down to the human touch. Okay, so that is one thing that you cannot be ever be replaced by AI. And it is something that you, as a business owner, as a startup owner, need to develop. And even for multinational, it's the same. Okay.
I absolutely agree. Until the day AI has its own right, human right, all right, we will still be the decision makers, and we'll still have to own up to the decisions that we make based on artificial intelligence. So I'm going to show two applications very quickly just to get people, to understand more what we're doing. First of all is Analytics. So essentially, if you look at this, we are scoring all the different listed companies here in Hong Kong. But you're like, okay, it's just another score. But our position is not to become another rating agency. It's more on how we can better help listed companies improve their disclosures. So we have about 270 indicators, 35 themes here that looks at how a company has done in terms of different things. So if I look at like climate change mitigation, for example, here our AI says we're able to prove that this company has a planned program that mitigate climate change. And it's able to tell us that the answer can be found on the page 11, 13, 37, and so forth. So I can click on it and it will actually load the disclosure and bring me back to where this piece of information can be found. So essentially, that saved a lot of time because an analyst has to go through the entire document to try to find that. So we're able to find an answer here. We can also compare this very easily by clicking on peer comparison. So for example, here we compare against 5 different companies, and we can see how each company is performing in terms of each indicator. So as a listed company, if you don't have enough time just to look at your data, now you can also look at how other people are doing and improve the quality of disclosure. Of course, we also have other tools here that allows you to ask different questions about the company. So if you say, hey, tell me how this company manage climate risk, let's say. So this is a technique we coined RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. If some of you have played with Poe on your phone, you're relying on its neural network. It may make up things called hallucination. But what we've done is we've used an approach called RAG to make sure the answers are grounded and are coming from information that we've sourced, we've found physically or online. Right, so here basically we're able to see the answer for that the company is following the TCFD guideline. And I can also get jumped to the correct page where this proves that the company has done the proper climate change program. All right, and the other tool is Factify. So how are lawyers using this? So let's say this is a 676-page perspective from Miniso. Okay, I think most of you have shopped there. They listed earlier this year. You can upload this prospectus and immediately each statement has been boxed up and an ID applied. And we can also ask, what are the statements that are facts and in scope, and what are the opinions, and apply them. And right away, you can see a filtered list of information starting from page 9. And you can see a bit of coloring here. So the first sentence says, we are a global retailer offering a variety of design-led lifestyle products. So our AI says this is fact, but you need to prove it operationally because you're saying, hey, you're design-led. So something like, what are your product catalogs, right? Uploading that could be an evidence of you doing that, and etc. If you have a statement about GMV, it will ask you about an audited report. So if you have also, have an audited report uploaded, you can then click on this requirement and then link it to a report that you have prepared. All right, so essentially it automates some of the citation process for you automatically. So here it found that on page 1 there is an evidence where you can link this up, and now it's verified. Okay, and so you can see we still encourage someone to take a second look, but it saves you all the time to go through an entire document and look at it one by one. All right, so I hope this highlights how we turn a problem into more of a solution, and then the value proposition that we are offering. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Calvin. Thank you for sharing. Now, that was a lot. I appreciate. If I were to summarize, not even summarize, I can't do that. But the essence of it is the future of work is a topic, and as demonstrated by Calvin here, it's going to change because, Herman and I, we were just sharing. I used to do this manually by hand. By the way, Calvin just said 10 minutes, and literally I'm taking a pencil and I'm circling every single box. I'm labeling every single box and I'm finding the evidence. That took me 2 weeks, and I'm pretty good at this. 2 weeks. The pitch for this company, the reason why I invested is same thing as Calvin's introducing himself. The clients upload a document. By the time they're done with the intro, it's verified. 2 weeks into 10 minutes. So these are examples. I know it doesn't apply to everyone, but just imagine when you pick up your skills and you think about what jobs those skills will apply to, you cannot possibly look in the past and go, oh, I want to be, like Herman said, the accountant, the doctor, whatever. Maybe, but the nature of that work will change because of stuff like this. So thank you, Calvin, for sharing insights into that. Great. Now, if there's questions, Calvin's going to stick around, not for long, so grab him. We have one final thing where I'm going to bring your very own Levine on stage. I will grill him. If you have questions for Levine, if you're dying to ask, now's the time to ask him. I'll also bring Denise, who is a product manager at Bilby, to continue the conversation here around the future of work and AI. This will be a short session, so again, no questions this past session, but please have some upcoming. So I can bring Denise and Levine to the area. I was going to call it stage. Thank you.
Thank
Give
you.
you a mic.
Thank you.
Levine, that's yours. All right. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna stand. It's easier. It's like I told you, I'm grilling you. You've heard enough from me, so why don't Denise? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone.
So when we start off, tell us about you and what you're doing.
Oh, well, I run product at Bilby. Bilby is an AI company, and so we've been talking a little bit about AI today. And what we're really trying to do is solve the problem of governance. So if you've spent some time in Hong Kong, I'm assuming most of you have spent some time here, or maybe you flown in just for this event, in which case, good choice. You'll have understood or you'll heard someone say something about the Chinese political system that goes to the effect of what is happening in China. Well, I heard from my cousin, aunt's friend, who has a friend that works in the Chinese government. So that is the kind of analysis that we're currently getting when it comes to governments. And that kind of doesn't make very much sense because governments play an outsized influence in sort of our markets and our day-to-day lives. And so what we're trying to do with AI is really try to solve the question of what is the next policy that's going to come out? What was the next regulation that's going to come out? What is the government sort of doing? So that's what we try and do.
So many questions to ask there, but Levine, who are you? What are you doing? What is this Xccelerate thing that seems to be attracting a lot of students?
Good afternoon, everyone. Levine here. I'm going to start off with a number. That number is 500 million. In the next 5 years, 500 million jobs are gone. Crazy, right? So I run a company called Xccelerate, and it's my absolute pleasure and honor to see so many amazing people, from our graduates, people in the community. We just want to say thank you for having us and creating this. What we do is match really talented people, data scientists, software engineers, people that want to upskill, reskill, move forward in their life, hence the name Xccelerate, with companies that want to move forward in their life. So we have this marketplace, and we have really smart people working on really cool projects all over the world.
I'm going to continue on that one quickly, and I'll get back to Denise. What's the impact if we're not aware of the need to upskill, to retrain? Has anyone ever asked what would the world be like without Xccelerate? How pressing of it is this? 500 million jobs sounds like that's pretty scary.
I actually think it's much cooler to look at it from the other way. Imagine a world where millions of people are now not bored out of their mind at their jobs. They're being automated. Imagine a world where everyone is able to tap into their highest essence, the core of their human capabilities. Imagine you're really, really talented at storytelling. You're a business major, and you're sitting in Hong Kong or Philippines. You're bored out of your mind in a role, but you've learned some data analysis, and now you're in a very exciting role with a ton of career satisfaction. You're growing your income, you're growing your skills. The company you're at loves what you're doing. That is an alignment between your skills and possibly a mission, whether it's in climate, whether it's in biotech, whether it's just making insurance a little bit more efficient. But at least there's an alignment between the opportunity and the person. So our mission is really just to match people and opportunity. And that's a very beautiful world if we can get that right.
No, that resonates. I spoke with one of your students earlier, from basketball coach, you know who you are, to data analyst. I mean, that's exactly, back in my day, you couldn't connect these two things, but today, thanks to your program, I guess that is possible. Now, on to AI products. Dennis, you're a product manager, right?
Yes.
What's your day-to-day? How do you manage an AI product? What do you do?
I like to joke that I spend my day begging the engineers to build something that people want, and begging VCs to give us money to build something that people want, and then begging people to like what we want, which is also kind of a true answer. But my day-to-day depends very much on what we're doing that day. I love the variety in my job. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility that a product comes out that works and sells. And in order to get there, I may do everything from, talk to our engineers to set the product roadmap and ensure that it's going smoothly, to coordinating with sales, to sort of help and plan out the architecture. it depends really on the product and the feature.
Be able to kind of highlight, this is also part skills-based, program we'll be doing. Any particular skills per se, or even the other way of asking this is, compared to a non-AI tech company, SaaS, say if I can do it that way, are there differences? So where are the skills, examples of skills that you might have to apply in your job?
I think that the skills, it depends. There are like two levels of skills. There are skills that you have, those are very core, specific technical skills that are applicable to that company, applicable to that kind of job, etc. And then there are meta skills, which apply for all sorts of jobs. So meta skills, like knowing how to learn, knowing how to communicate, that's always going to be true across any job. You have sort of more specific skills than that are very, very applicable to that company, which is going to bore you don't need to learn. In between, you have an area of skill that is sort of, I guess, more applicable to AI companies than not. We spend a lot of time thinking about, for example, our data pipeline, which you might not think so much about if you're not an AI company. We spend a lot of time thinking about QA. You might not think so much about that. We spend a lot of time thinking about architecture and closing our data loops. So in terms of skills, just really an understanding of AI, how it works at a fundamental level, and trying to apply sort of your understanding to that.
Living, what do you think? Those are the skills. Data analytics, data ingestion, data structure, data, a lot of it. Any of the skills? What do you see in terms of skills and what's lacking? That's why you're coming in to fill that gap.
Just to show of hands over here, how many of you think it would be an incredible life well lived if you were at the forefront of your capabilities? Basically, if you were doing things that you were designed to do in your life. Right? Okay. So when you take a step back, right? Yes, data is cool. Yes, you need to go learn Python. That's going to change in about 3 months, maybe 2.5 months. So what we really care about, and we've built, I hate to use the word AI because everyone uses the word AI every few seconds, but what we've built is an AI infrastructure with an AI platform to train people with AI skills. What I'm trying to say is we want to use your natural DNA, your natural curiosity, your learning agility, the things that you're innately born to do, understand that and put you in roles where you were designed to win. That's a great life. That's a great career. And for the company that's working with you, or if you're running a company, that's a great outcome. So I'd say soft skills and learning agility matter a lot more, and the ability to be curious about how quickly this space is changing is a huge plus.
I picked up something there. You said, everyone's using AI as a phrase. I agree. I myself, I'm quite bothered. Well, not myself. Thanks to Calvin teaching me a thing or two about AI. It's a general topic, but we need to go a bit deeper. So my question is, all right, I'll start with you, looking around to you, Denise. In the spectrum of AI readiness, so, you look potentially looking for employers that want to take you in with your new skill. Are the employers ready to actually go down that strategy? AI readiness in the world, how ready are we? 0 being it doesn't even exist. I think we're past 0 because we're talking about it. 1 might be we're talking about it, but we have no idea what's going on. And obviously 10 might be singularity, where we don't need to exist because AI is everywhere. It's subjective, but based on your observations and experiences, AI readiness in the working field, where do you think we are, if I use that scale as a point of reference?
I think there's definitely nuances. So some people are early in their career, some people are a little bit later, some people are managers, some people are fresh grads. There's definitely a nuance, right? But generally in Asia, the readiness, the hunger is there, right? Emerging markets, Philippines, Indonesia, people want to move up in their life. They want to accelerate. But the ability to do so and find the opportunities are more in the West. So I'd say AI readiness closer to 5 or 6 in the West, and then 4 or 5 here. But that number is changing really fast, and the nuance is very different. So people, I'm sure you've seen it, traditional companies in Hong Kong, I won't name names, complete, I won't name
Aren't someone supposed to show up later and you're going to tell them what skills?
When you look at it, a lot of it is so buzzword heavy, but they don't actually go to implementation because of that knowledge gap. As a result, many of their smartest talent actually leave. I know a ton of very established companies in Hong Kong, smart engineers, smart data scientists, they don't want to work there because the management has no AI readiness. They have no clarity on what's going on. The biggest challenge isn't the skill, it's the clarity of how it relates to the business case. Not today, but for your business tomorrow. Because every business here, every career here is changing. So how do you go from point A to point B when that transition already started?
What do you think? AI readiness, what do you see? How ready are we?
What, as a society or as individuals or?
Let's talk about businesses. So in your case also includes governments. Whether it's the adoption, the fear of it, the curiosity of it, how ready are our businesses?
Well, that's an unanswerable question. Like, how ready are businesses for the Greater Bay Area? It's impossible to put that on a scale. I think that obviously for a business or just as a society, the way I think about this is not like how ready are we for AI, but it is how much more ready we can be for AI. The delta from where we're starting, not an unknowable platonic ideal. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up quickly, one or two more, so start thinking about questions. I'd like to do this one, and by the way, hands to both these. I did not give them any of the questions. This is like really quick fire for them. AI, we often go with the negative and the positive. I mean, we're always talking with Herman, a lot of concerns, obviously, because, we as humans also think about our future relevance, in the space of AI. My next set of questions, can each of you say, all right, what are your worries about AI? So we'll start on the bad news side, but let's finish off with what are also your hopes for AI? And I think this way we can try and exactly like Denise rebalance the conversation. So we're not just talking about the end of all human purpose because computers take us over. Levine, I'll pass that on to you. Your fears and your hopes.
The change is happening so fast. So how are companies going to create enough good quality jobs, right? How are we going to make sure everyone needs a job with meaning and purpose and community? It's not just for income. I mean, income can happen, universal basic income, but it's a basic necessity, a tribal proclivity that we're around people that we hopefully like, and that we're working on something that hopefully matters. That is how you live a long, healthy life, right? So removing that, or removing, the sort of absence of purpose of learning and growing, basically killing what it means to be human. I'm worried that we're going to have a generation of people that really struggle with their mental health, even if the government provided all the income in the world, because there's only so many hours of Counter-Strike you can play. On the positive, what I believe is absolutely fascinating is the intersection between talent and where very innovative projects can come to fruition. So we're working with the Hospital Authority of Hong Kong. They've asked us to do training and hiring for AI talent to go solve breast cancer in Hong Kong. That to me is fundamentally a beautiful thing. Not only are you taking smart people, giving them skills, putting them in an amazing job, solving a real challenge, right? And as a result, lives are improved and the hospital bills go down. This is what I call win-win-win. If we could do that also in climate, smart people learn software engineering, learn data science, learn AI, harness that for the yield on certain agricultural products or on capturing more solar in the solar cells in windows. The building costs go down. People have a meaningful career, which is important. The company makes more money, so everyone is winning. We could do that with self-driving cars. We could do that with mRNA sequencing. So we're at the dawn. We're at the cusp of something that's absolutely amazing. A lot of people here have so little hope for humanity right now. And if you look at it, there's been 111 billion humans that have ever lived up until now, and there's about 8 billion people, so 11% of all living people are now. If we could capture some of these major challenges and turn them into opportunities, there is an opportunity for humanity to go to the stars, literally, physically, metaphorically. Billions, trillions of humans solving some of the world's biggest challenges.
I love it when Levine gets on a roll like that. He's my spiritual guru. I'm so hopeful listening to you, really. For those who don't know, hopes and fears and hopes.
Fears and hopes.
Whichever order. I know I said several fears, but whichever order you feel comfortable in.
So I hear Levine's fear. I actually don't have that specific fear. I'm a techno-optimist, so I'll acknowledge upfront that that's my point of view. I think historically, if you look at the studies and you look at the research they've done, every time we have a paradigm shifting technology, it's actually been a net benefit to the world. People would create more jobs. So people were worried in the beginning, would be lawyers would get fired? No. Now lawyers write the average contract used to be like 16 pages, now it's 160 pages when you get to white shoe law firms. Jobs will be created, I think, and technology means that it gets rid of the more grueling parts of that, and hopefully that means you have more meaning. What I do worry about is that we don't know enough, and if we don't know enough about something so powerful and it's not regulated, then how is that going to end? Humans may not necessarily be trusted. I do, however, believe that, and I think this is true, we're at the cusp of a new paradigm shift. The possibilities are endless. The VCs are recognizing this, so they have this theme of American dynamism, which is what Andreessen is investing in. I think that's true of the world. The world is going to go through an incredible era of growth, and I think that's very, very exciting.
I caught something there. You said regulations, AI regulations. Yes, you talk about that. That's a government initiative, and Bilby is a government. Well, you can able to crunch that. Do you have any insights, or can we get insights? How are governments going to regulate AI?
We're going to have to get you signed an NDA first before I answer that question.
All of us, all right? All of us sign NDAs.
Yeah, I'll send you an NDA and then we can talk about it. So.
Thank you. Oh, this sounds like something there. Okay, we have like 5-10 minutes before some of you guys perform on your talent nights. Questions? Anything for any one of us? There must be something on your minds. How many are looking for jobs already? Is that too much to ask? Questions? You have a question, Kai?
Yeah, so start off. Yeah, so I have a question about data analysts. Do you think that in the coming years that the demand for it will get lower for the role of data analyst specifically?
So Avi and I are head of AI at lunch at exactly this. We actually think the growth for data analysts is going to be exponential. Because now every single startup is going to have to harness business intelligence, and even small teams within larger corporates, whether it's a PCCW or HSBC Payme or government, they need to have that in-house capability. Again, the hard part isn't data visualization. The hard part isn't some Python skills. It's the ability for someone talented like yourself to be able to connect the business case, the story, and be able to communicate to Mr. CEO, COO, this is how your business can improve its efficiency, improve its revenue, or improve its experience for customers as a result of that intelligence.
Did you want me to answer that question as well, or?
Sure, yeah, I would like to.
I assume the meta reason you're asking that question is you want to be a data analyst, right? And so you're trying to position yourself within that wave. So he's right. And the macro, data analysts, there's a lot of demand for them. The real question you should be asking is, how do I position myself within that macro wave in order to beat everyone else, right? Like, screw the rest. I'm the best. The answer to that is, we're realistic. Let's get into it here, right? The answer to that question is that, we've talked, so there are a lot of meta skills which are obviously very important. You need to be able to learn yada, yada, yada. Those are basic. And then there are skills that are very, very technical and specific to the job. What you want to do is actually be very good at those very, very technical skills at a very junior level. People talk about the ability to learn, yada, yada, yada. When you're at sort of that stage, the ability to learn, you can only really do that if your technical, core competencies are very, very slick and very, very good. So I would honestly recommend just going, coding, and just knowing those inside and out. Sort of pick a niche area, be very, very technically skilled at it, and in doing so, you will actually teach yourself to learn.
As long as you're able to communicate that. I'm all for really smart nerds, but if they can't talk, I'm not going to hire them.
Fair enough?
Now, actually, then I will ask for myself. Okay, I want to learn blockchain or AI. I get that question a lot. I ask that question a lot. Is that even a sensible question? Is there a starting point of answering that?
I'm interested, before I answer that question, why did you pick blockchain and AI?
Because as a VC, those are where the money is going.
Well, are you trying to learn that in order to be a better venture capitalist, or are you trying to learn that in order to just understand the technology more?
Internally, it's the latter. I really want to understand it, but because I don't want to be cheated.
Well, I think then for venture capitalists, you should look at sort of your fund and where you're allocating money and probably focus your attention on where you have the greatest ROI. And I think actually there are a lot of models now that combine both. But it's also about like if you're a VC, then the question is sort of like, how am I, I'm not entirely sure that that you need to understand the technology so much as you need to understand the team and the ecosystem in which sort of you're investing in, right? Those are also very, very relevant factors.
Fair enough. You're looking at me like back to founder. Always. We had time for, okay, I'm being called on time. Anything on anyone's minds? Looks like you just need some beer or something in your vehicle. There you go. I'll just give you the mic.
It's not so technically related to the chat. It is still AI focused. I guess like AI has so many capabilities in a business context. But what I wanted to ask is you guys' opinion on people weaponizing it and how we're going to regulate that, because I think that's a big problem.
Right now, for $500 you could go buy some drones, and with minimal programming skills, you could get those drones to be able to recognize your face, but someone's face, and you could attach a mini missile on that, or some darts and bullets, and that drone could just come in and, So the problem with weaponized AI and data is that it actually exists right now for basically no barriers to entry, and could cause catastrophe. I think the catastrophe comes not from AI itself, but from people using the AI in malignant manners, such as the example I gave you. How do you regulate that? We create incentives for regulation. I'm sure we'll go more into that. And perhaps the most important thing is creating a distributed power so that, there's other forms of AI. There's not one central AI power, there's distributed. You have the power of AI, you have the power of AI, so that we all go up value chain together.
I think that's a very clever question. I think it's a question that I personally can't answer, because the question of how we should regulate AI is also a question. It's a question of what is AI and what can it do, which we don't know all about. It's a cultural question, a socioeconomic question, a legal question about the society you exist in and the world we exist in and how we choose to regulate it and what principles that stands for. I think at the end of the day, this is a question and determination that each country has to make based on the information that they have and based on the goals that they're trying to seek. And as citizens, all we can do is sort of know what we stand for, reflect that if we can in our countries that we are citizens of, and hope that the process means that we will be well protected.
Am I hearing we're gonna have silos of regulations in AI? Separations of sorts?
Well, we don't know, right? We that's only something we'll know in 10, 20 years time. I will say that if you look at sort of like privacy laws, or you look at other digital laws in the world now, they are slightly siloed. So IP laws, say in China, is very, very different to IP laws, say in the West. And the wonderful thing is the world has still found a way to get along. And my hope is, as a techno-optimist, we will continue to find a way to get along without hurting anyone. But it's an unknowable question. It's a good question, but an unknowable question.
And I like to close on that tone. Optimist. I mean, I think that's the point here. We can only hope and build the future that you want to live in. I mean, for us at CIV, we are investing in that future we want to live in, and we could possibly do that without optimistic, great value founders doing great stuff with great businesses. So Denise, Levine, thank you so much for your sharings. We're going to stick around, obviously. So that's it for the sharing session. I hope this opened up some topics. The whole point of an UNCONFERENCE, by the way, first time, I know everyone's a bit tight, it's a bit stiff, it's completely opposite when we do it some other place. But now's the time to relax. You have a couple minutes before we transition onto Talent Night. I can see we have some corporate friends here. Gene, what's up? Good to see you. Sorry, just had to call you out, you're right there. He's MTR, by the way, so again, everyone's gonna be running to you. So grab the drinks, grab the beers. We're all gonna be around here. Thank you for this first part of it. And part two will be starting, I guess, 10 minutes? 20 minutes? In 10 minutes thereabouts. onto Talent Night. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all.